mineralization. So it will mineralize, okay, the heavy metals that are available in the environment, and it can mineralize it within the cell, okay, or with at the outer part of the cell, which we call as biofilm, okay. And apart from that, the microbe can also conduct microbially enhanced chemisorptions of metals, okay. So chemisorption meaning the absorption is conducted through chemical process. However, the microbes will enhance it, okay, in the form of providing enzymes as well as certain exudates, okay, from the cell that eventually will lead to the absorption of the metals, okay, partly chemical, partly microbial assistance, okay, assisted, okay, right. And then another thing is the microbe also can conduct biodegradation of chelating agent, okay. And next is bioleaching. It can leach out the metals from the ore, for instance, from the stones, okay, or from the ore where the metal is, the metals resides, okay. And eventually it can conduct bioabsorption. So these are all the processes that can be conducted by the microbes in order for to conduct the bioremediation of the heavy metals, okay, right. And then next slide is the sources of metals, okay. Right, okay. So the sources of metals, okay. Normally the metals can be found from the environment. Okay, we can see that these metals, okay, for instance, essential metals such as copper, such as iron, potassium, magnesium, manganese, sodium, and nickel, and also zinc, okay. These are essential metals that are required by the human and also required by the microbes for the biological processes to happen within the cell. And some of the metals are also required for the growth, and some other metals are also required for the production of protein and also certain enzymes that are required by the microbes to continue its growth and also its living, okay. So when we talk about the function of the essential metals, okay, the first one, okay, A is actually the normal, okay, process that will be conducted within the cell of the microbe is a redox process, and these essential metals, okay, the one that I've listed up here, from copper to zinc, they are called as micronutrients. Okay, why they are called as micronutrients? Because they are needed in a small amount, okay, in a only small amount. We call it as trace amount, or we can say it in the micromolar or microgram amounts, okay. So that's why they are called as micronutrients. And normally, okay, these micronutrients are essentially important for redox processes, okay. I think you can still remember what is redox processes all about. Reduction and oxygenation, okay, that happen in the microcellular respiration, okay, within the mitochondria. I think you guys still can recall, okay. The main purpose of this redox process is actually to produce ATP, okay, energy in the form of ATP, okay. And then we have the metal B, okay. The B is metals as components for various enzymes, as I did mention to you earlier. Okay, some of these metals become the cofactor, okay, of the enzymes. So without the presence of these metals, okay, in the as a cofactor in the enzyme cannot work properly, and eventually it will abrupt, okay, or maybe it will disturb the sorry, not abrupt, it will this could be detrimental, okay, for the microbe, where the enzyme couldn't be able to function as what it is intended for, okay, and eventually the microbes will die. So this cofactor of the enzymes are very important. So, and the cofactors are all the essential metals that I have mentioned to you earlier, from copper to zinc, okay, and this also required, okay, as we as human, we also need these elements of these metals in the form of ions, okay, ion, okay, within our cell. And then C, metals can stabilize molecules, okay, through electrostatic interaction. So if you can still remember that the cell membrane, okay, sometimes it needs to be stabilized. Okay, we have the electrostatic charge, okay, that occur at the outer part of the cell, and only the charge on the outer part of the cell is negative charge, okay, whereby the electron can be transferred through these redox processes and can produce ATP through the difference of the electron potential. Okay, and then what these metals can do, it will stabilize the molecules of these that require electrostatic interactions. Okay, and then D, metals are used for regulation of osmotic pressure. Okay, so in order to maintain the pressure within the cell, okay, that we call it as osmotic pressure, in order to avoid plasmolysis and also to avoid crenation. Okay, so crenation. Okay, so this osmotic pressure maintenance or regulation is very important, and these metals the ions of this metal are important to ensure that the osmotic pressure, meaning the concentration of the salts. Okay, so you know that this metal in the form of ion, they are we can measure it as a conductivity, okay, electroconductivity, and they become the salts within the cell. Salt, garam. Okay, so ada garam copper, garam besi, garam potassium, garam magnesium. Okay, manganese sampai ke garam zinc. Okay, this salt, okay, they are needed in order to maintain the pressure, the osmotic pressure within the cell. So in order to maintain the cells so that the cells are still intact, and no plasmolysis or crenation can happen to the cell. Okay, so these are very important aspect that need to be understand, and you guys must know that these metals are the importance of these essential metals, okay, within the cells. Okay, okay, so the next slide. Okay, sources of metals in soils. It can the metals can be found from the mineral rock weathering and anthropogenic sources. Mineral rock weathering meaning is due to the weather, okay, action of the weather, such as wind, such as wave, okay, for instance, and then such as the heat, okay, produced by sun, and also the coldness, okay, during the winter season, for instance. Okay, this could lead to mineral rock weathering, meaning the mineral will be disattached, okay, or dismantled from the rock, and it will go to the soil. Okay, normally the metals can be found in the rock. It's very hard rock. Okay, but after some time, due to the weathering is what cuaca lah. So cuaca, hakisan, okay, corrosion, and so on and so forth, could lead to some part of the rock will start to degrade and fall to the soil, and this is called as weathering. And so when the part of the minerals from the rock that fall on the soil due to weathering, it will end up the concentration of the metals in the soil. And secondly, it could